So today we're here to welcome Thuli Madonsela. Thuli Madonsela is a South African advocate and the Public Protector of South Africa. She is a member of the World Economic Forum Global Advisory Council against anti-corruption and transparency. Ms. Madonsela is also chairperson of the African Ombudsman Research Center. Ms. Madonsela holds a bachelor's degree in law from the University of Swaziland and an LLB from the University of Witwatersrand, obtained in 1990. From 1993 to 1995, Ms. Madonsela was a law lecturer at the Law School Center of the University of Witwatersrand. So we just have a few questions for you today. So the first one is how, at a domestic level, the rule of law can stimulate peace and promote peace in a country.
The rule of law has a major role in shoring up peace and stability at domestic level, just purely by ensuring that there's accountability and there's a sense of a level playing field. When there's a rule of law, of course, we're talking about a situation where nobody's above the law and everyone is accountable for their actions, and the law is interpreted by competent courts that are consistent, and the decisions of courts are complied with, and all of the requirements of the rule of law is defined by the World Justice Forum. And one of the things that could happen in a rule of law situation is that people participate in decision making around how they're going to be governed. They have avenues for rendering government accountable, and where they have been wronged, there are competent courts to deal with their wrongs and hold government or any other person accountable for any wrongdoing.
Okay, and then as an advocate and as studying law, how can lawyers promote the rule of law and then ultimately contribute towards peace in a country?
I think they, like the courts, are part of a rule of law state where if you've been wronged, there are avenues for holding people accountable. What is peace? And we say peace is more than the absence of war. Peace is a situation where people feel relatively satisfied with the way things are and don't feel the need to resort to extrajudicial means to have themselves heard. Lawyers can contribute, firstly, obviously, by providing legal services through the normal court system. And in our context, it also helps when lawyers provide what we refer to as pro bono services to ensure everyone has access to justice regardless of how poor they are. And everyone is also provided with knowledge about the legal system so that they can participate fully. I believe in the context of the ICD, lawyers can also be a bridge between nations because every country has lawyers. And there is something fundamentally similar in all of the laws of different countries. It doesn't matter which country you come from. There's normally a basic set of human rights. There's also a basic set of laws around, protecting property and just civil rights. And some of the criminal law provisions are similar, like theft, murder, and things like that. And that's common ground that lawyers can use to exchange ideas between each other, and in the process, though, they can build bridges between different communities.
So is that also similar to the link that you see between your office as public protector and cultural diplomacy?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, the public protector is an ombudsman-like institution. It's a new institution across the globe. And although it's about 200 years old, but many countries have it. So it provides an opportunity again to dialogue about commonalities. As was said this morning, that we focus so much on how we differ. We don't realize that there's certain things that are similar. For example, public protectors are there to ensure that people who haven't had accountability through the political process and can't afford the judicial process because it's slow and expensive, have this administrative structure. And it's found in any country. Again, that's an opportunity for these institutions to come together in dialogue to formulate common things around how should governments behave and how should governments treat their people to avoid people ending up being angry and gravitating towards violence, including terrorism.
Okay, well, thank you. I think you answered all our questions. Yeah.
Thank you. It was a wonderful opportunity to be here, and I hope we continue the dialogue about bringing the law into cultural diplomacy and intermingling these different professions. I mean, I heard that it started with cultural things like jazz, etc. I think that should still be essential, but if you bring all of those together, it's part of the notion that the rule of law is not just for lawyers and politicians, it's for all of us. And the rule of law is not just about domestic law, it's also an opportunity between jazz sessions and other things. We can discuss the rule of law's application within the context of global governance.